for what could be the final game of the series and the final game of KC's year, which is not something I was expecting to say. Once again, Pantheon Xayah bans out from KC. Fnatic following their tried and true formula. Azir and Yunara removed alongside this. They've been getting rid of the Poby so far.
And it feels weird that KC keeps going back to this blue side. I'd really like to see them try to get some sort of counter pick for Canna, because that feels like an avenue that they haven't yet leveraged, trying to shut down Oscarinin. But maybe they just don't think it's possible. They just need to get that OP power pick on the blue side.
It's the Poby going to be left open for the first time in this draft. I don't think it'd be first pick worthy. Could be something like, I mean, the Jace has been the one that we've been looking at because it has been incredibly strong, but also potential for a mid lane pick here for Vladi, and it will be the Viktor locked in immediately.
First pick Viktor for Vladi. They are putting now the eggs in his basket. Last time it was Canna with the Rumble. Didn't have as much impact as he would have wanted. Where are Fnatic going to look for their answers? They have left that Poppy open if they want to go for it. Don't want to pick it this early in a draft. Obviously, you want to see a few dashes and such to work around early doors, but could just go for something standard. Get your mid laner, go for something that roams around the map, which is what they have been doing so much. Galio, Taliyah, now Twisted Fate. They are putting a lot more faith in Poby to be in the right position this series than they have been in some of the other series this split.
And Fnatic have been looking more connected with Poby than they really did with Humanoid in a long time. He's been playing really on the same page with them. I was doubtful and skeptical of the Galio, but even then he was always at the right place at the right time. And doing it again with TF, it's a very similar champion.
And now they're also giving control to Upset in this bottom side of the map. He's kind of been on the back foot, and they've gone for swaps. They've been trying to find creative ways to get him out of the matchup. Now they're just saying, right, take the Corki, take this lane bully, try and be dominant, and we can try and find these plays off that Twisted Fate, leveraging strong side lanes to enable them.
I wonder if KC could look to do something that Fnatic did last game with the level 1 swap. If they now try to go for a weaker early game ADC in the Sivir, and then they also have to blind pick top lane, so they presumably get a losing matchup there, maybe they just want to get out of that lane, get Caliste scaling, because now you have this Sivir Viktor gonna scale incredibly well, much better than this Twisted Fate Corki.
Yeah, if the game goes late, you are very happy to have that Viktor and the Sivir on your side. Nautilus locked in as well gives you great CC potential, 4 forms of it in the kit. Rell will be locked in for Fnatic, gives you a great Magnet Storm, good AoE in a team fight, good control as well. The Q flash can be pretty devastating in the early lane.
Also a decent matchup into the Nautilus as well. Obviously Nautilus can try and hook you out of the crash down, but you can also get rid of his shield thanks to that Q as well. So I think overall you're going to see Upset and Mikyx really looking to leverage the strong bot lane and trying to punish KC if, as Jack was saying, they get given that opportunity.
I think the only bright side for the Sivir into this Rell is that it's pretty chill for the Sivir. You can always block either the W or the Q, which leads her to not getting that CC chain and makes it a little bit easier for her. Of course, with the Alistar being taken out, it's not really any support that you can pick into Sivir. That kind of feels like a checkmate. I guess maybe the Bard is great with the passive proccing the spell shield, but I'm pretty happy this game if I'm Caliste looking at the first 3 picks. We'll get to see if they can round out this comp with some... you really need some frontline in this jungle and top, but with Fearless and 2 bans of Fnatic, they can target quite a few champions here.
I think it also just sets up nicely for, like, if you want a front line from Razork, cool. We've got things like the Sejuani that can go in towards the jungle, the Maokai that can go in towards the jungle. If you want to get really spicy, you can even look at things like the Silas that has been picked up over in the LCK and that. But I think just going for a bit more bog standard here for Razork and Oscarinin is kind of just all you need, and just at least having Oscarinin on something that's a bit more of a carry to enable a side lane play with this Twisted Fate will work out. But I think you're fine. You've got options here as Fnatic.
They'll get rid of a couple of those tanks, the Jace, the Skarner and the Poppy banned away. KC removed Nocturne and Jace, something that can also impact side lanes with that Nocturne. The ability to follow up on a Paranoia with the Destiny makes sense to get rid of that. Now looking towards their jungle, I want to save the last pick for Oscarinin, as they did in game 1 with that Ambessa. Is the Naafiri going to get locked in? Here it is. Locked in for Razork. Okay, a lot of pressure on Razork here to carry with this. Gives you a huge amount of damage out of the jungle, though.
Yeah, definitely a huge confidence pick. I remember we saw Elyoya with great success on the Naafiri when it was very broken in jungle. Pairs up very nicely with Twisted Fate, as now you can always run around, get picks that way. And it's just typical that when you have this mid-jungle duo, you really want one of them to be the utility. Most of the time, that is the jungler that provides setup for the mid. But in this case, when you have that TF, you're leveraged to go this carry, but that really puts all the burden on Razork and how he does. And now with this JackSpek being really good into both the TF and the Naafiri, and then the Maokai, I mean, this is a nice draft from Karmine Corp.
Yeah, I love the way KC have rounded out this draft. Again, strong team fighting, good setup, and again, Canna almost feels like he's kind of checked Fnatic here, saying, I have a very strong top laner. A lot of the answers into the Jacks have been removed. So Oscarinin going back towards something that has been a bit of a mixed bag for him, but comfort for him into these kind of matchups.
And definitely something that can work into the Jacks, the ability just to body slam him away when he looks for that counter strike. There's a certain symmetry in these drafts, though. We saw the last time Razork brought out the Naafiri was in spring playoffs in Game 3 versus KC when they were about to be 3-0 by KC. So the confidence to bring it out in Game 3 where you are hoping to 3-0 KC in the summer playoffs is a sight to behold, to be sure.
I do have to say, though, I'd be very surprised if Fnatic are able to take this game, because KC's draft, to me, it screams Europe, to be honest. It's great scaling, great frontline, very easy to play, while Fnatic, they need to find creative angles, they need to find picks, they need to play extremely well, and unless KC have mentally crumbled, I don't see them winning.
It's such a snowballing composition from Fnatic. If you can get leads and you constantly play for pick after pick after pick, sure, you can get this game under control and you can snowball it out of control. But for KC, as Jack was saying, it's just so simple. It's so easy to play. It almost plays itself honestly around some of these objectives. It's going to be a tough one for Fnatic, but they have looked like the better team today and they've had control in the early game. So KC going to have to try and find that miracle here.
They are, as we get ready for Game 3 of this best of 5. Atop the mountain sit our two teams. Will KC be toppled off it unceremoniously in 3 games? Will Fnatic continue this fine run of form we've seen from them in these last couple of matches?
Also just a complete potential flip from spring. It was KC in this exact same position, 3-0ing Fnatic, and then moving on to face MKOI. This time around, Fnatic find themselves 2-0 up in the series, with looking at potentially MKOI tomorrow.
And I want to build off a bit, Rob, what you were talking about earlier with the drafts and how Fnatic's been playing. Just giving kind of clear win conditions for both teams here. I think for Fnatic, it's really obvious they need to kind of win this early game. They want Razork ahead, and they want to utilize Poby to move around the map. And then when it comes to the side lanes later on, we've been seeing them maneuver really well around getting push in one side and then transitioning that pressure to the other side. So they need to continue to do that and really utilize this TF to get picks, because KC's win condition is just relax. Scale until 2 to 3 items, group up as 5, and then losing a 5v5 will be nigh near impossible.
Oscarinin and Canna will meet up towards the top side. Canna taking the leap strike first here just to follow up onto Oscar. We'll get him chunked down. A little bit reminiscent of Game 1 as KC tried to put their heads in towards the Fnatic jungle. And Fnatic will just have Razork starting on those Razor Beaks.
And this counter pick up in the top lane, it's a nice matchup for the Gragas, but it's not really up until you get that Lost Chapter, you get some cooldown reduction, that you can actually start to poke out this Jax, as he just is an AD champion. He does more damage to minions and more damage to you in the early levels, so he's going to get that push, but we got some fighting off in the bot side.
Yeah, Mikyx and Targamas falling down low. Mikyx on the wrong end of that one, as he's down to about 300 HP, already has to pop one of those potions. Targamas will do the same, with the Oracles will sweep out any vision that Fnatic could have had there. And again, Caliste and Targamas getting the early prio in this lane.
Especially with the fact that Mikyx had to give up the Bush. There's the level 2, hits on towards him, but Caliste already back in the minion wave, so Targamas just going to take some damage back, because the cowbell, no Alistair in this one, so quite yet. Oh, sorry, was on earlier in the series, but still good to hear it.
Yeah, unfortunately, we will not be hearing it in game.
I don't often see supports these days actually doing the cowbell.
I feel like people don't play this skin anymore.
That's true, yeah. I wonder if there's some skin that has slightly better animations or something for you. I often see that happen as Vladi's getting the push here in mid again on his Viktor. Caliste and Targamas able to push Upset and Mikyx back, but they should be able to get, I mean, they're going to be about 3 CS down after this wave that finishes under the tower.
And for me, I feel like Vladi's Viktor is iconic with it, really. I remember at first stand, Viktor was nearly permabanned throughout the whole tournament against them, and it just felt like the one pick that KC always had that Vladi could really do magic on. But then when you come into a series like this, he's already lost on the Orianna, very similar champ to the Viktor. I'd love to see him perform better in this game, but right now, my hopes are pretty low.
Has got about a 71% win rate on it across the course of the year. His most played alongside that is Zir, 15 games, so very comfortable on the champion. If they can scale, which the composition definitely allows them to do, and get a big lead here is Razork's going to go intangible. Targamas are looking for that CC route. Mikyx diving in though, and they dive onto Caliste, who has to flash away. The ricochet will start to shred through Fnatic. They back away immediately. Mikyx's on the wrong side of this wall and doesn't really have a hope in hell of escaping. KC should claim first blood. Mikyx's going to chase off Caliste. Meanwhile, Razork trying to dive in onto Yike. Jumps across into Targamas as well, but he's got no mid laner here. With Vladi moving across for mid, Razork has to flash the wall.
So Razork ends up moving into position to smite away the Scuttle Crab, so at least gets something as he has to burn his flash. But Mikyx walking into the pit ends up giving that kill across, so KC ends up burning a lot of summoner spells, but a kill early for Caliste.
And Fnatic just didn't have the damage. They were the ones who got to pull the trigger onto Caliste, but with him flashing away, with the barrier, with the spell shield, they weren't able to bring him down, and then after that, they pretty much just got ran down. Now, I'm not the jungle main, so I'm not sure if Razork going back in to blow his flash to get crab was worth, but he got now the top crab as well. He's coming into the Raptor respawn. I mean, it's not looking too bad for him CS-wise.
I love this for Mikyx. We've seen him do it quite a few times. Canna going in there, Counter-Strike out. Does still have the
Oscar
flash.
has no mana.
Oscar has no mana, so yeah, I mean, it's a good gank timing. We'll force Canna back a little bit, and the wave's not in the best of spots for that Jax. But Mikyx can just run around here again.
I mean, he has no Counter-Strike on the Jax, but
he can just stand nearby. Ooh, a pause, okay.
Okay. It's like there's a bug. Why is there support in my lane?
Why is this Rell here? What's going on? So we'll work out exactly what is happening with that pause.
Even though Mikyx doesn't get the kill, I think it's still really nice. Like, so he's given Oscarinin the opportunity to freeze here, and Canna will probably just reset and TP back in, but buying that reset time for Oscarinin, plus you have Razork now on the top half of the map. Like, I still think Razork needs to reset, but it does mean that you can see where Yike is on the map. At least you've still got cover for Oscarinin when he's low on mana, low on HP, and the enemy jungler's in the area.
Very true. And to have Yike on his signature Maokai. He is close by, 30-5 on this pick across the course of his career, which is pretty damn impressive, you've got to be honest, as we'll see how much of an impact he can have on this game. We talked a little bit about, is it worth it to get the Scuttle Crab on the Naafiri? If I'm a Naafiri, you just want to get as much gold as possible in the early game, right? Get yourself to a position where the Hound's Pursuit is actually a good kill threat, because one of the issues is if you are the first person burning anything out of this Sivir, she's just going to spell shield you as soon as you come in, and then Darking Daggers will get you a little bit of follow-up. Canna trying to get some of this XP as Mikyx will continue to force him away. He does have, Canna does, his jungler and his support on their way up here to try and help break this freeze, and I think now Mikyx will realize, okay, yeah, we might just have to back off a little bit.
Yeah, and I really want to touch upon what you said about Yike's Maokai. It feels like KC have really brought out their best of their best in every single role, and if they lose this game, they can do so saying that, you know, they gave everything they had and it just wasn't enough.
Yep. Very much agree with that. You got to throw the Hail Mary, right? Yeah. Sometimes, especially when you're losing the way you're losing so far as KC in the series, you just go comfort. It's like, we'll just play the things we know we can play. Composition works. We have scaling. We're okay. Let's just make sure that we go out with as big of a bang as we can have. And if we lose this one, well, we tried. You know, that happens.
But I think they're off to a great start here.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that you got the early skirmish, burnt a bunch of summoner spells, and got an early kill onto Caliste means the early resets are better. He's able to get pushed in his bottom lane better. Like, it kind of just stifles a lot of what Fnatic were hoping to achieve in these early stages. So for KC, I think you're just very chuffed with the fact that you managed to get this early lead.
Razork looking for a little bit of an invade. Totally agree with you there, Dagda. I think KC will be happy with how things have gone, especially getting the kill over onto Caliste on this Sivir. If he can scale up quickly, it is very hard for Fnatic to actually get on top of him that easily. You've got Nature's Grasp, you've got a Counter-Strike, you've got the Spell Shield, you've got a Nautilus. Like, yes, you can dive in, but that's tricky. As Targamas is going to get knocked up here. Does have the flash, upset Valkyrie forward. Dredge line away from Targa. Razork hits the Darking Daggers, but only onto Caliste. And Fnatic don't want to go any further. KC hold them off well.
Yeah, and also in that mid lane, you can see Vladi taking a very good trade against Poby. So I think trying to make sure that this TF couldn't get into the bottom side again. But I think that's where Fnatic are going to try and look for this reset. As Poby going to try and go back to base, and then could potentially ult in towards a dragon or maybe even a pick elsewhere for for Fnatic.
Razork now with that level 6, he has a pretty substantial lead onto Yike. Was kind of the biggest winner for Fnatic out of that bot side skirmish, as he's now looking to go for the top crab as well. And I think for me the two good things that are happening in Fnatic's game here is the fact that Poby survived the first few levels of the TF, can be quite a struggle into this Viktor, and has now gotten that level 6 so he can start impacting the map, and the fact that this Naafiri, which is a real win con, is able to propel herself and actually get that CS lead that she really requires.
Yeah, that's the thing for them. They're putting a lot of weight on Razork's shoulders with this early game, but he has been known to carry it across the years. We'll see as well. There is a risk that Fnatic fall into their own ways a little bit. There's a lot of dive.
Yeah.
Like the Naafiri wants to go ham, wants to dive in towards that backline, and there's always the risk that Razork's the only one going forward. You kind of want to split the fight with an explosive cask and then pick people off one by one rather than having a full 5v5 front to back.
But it's also a very different look from Fnatic. Like a lot of when Razork plays, it's on enablers, right? To set up his lanes, try and get people like upset ahead. This is very much a Fnatic playing for him, but playing against Canna.
Strike into the crash down. Canna will pop the Grandmaster's Might and leap strike to a minion. Dodges to the side of the explosive cast with that flash. He'll survive.
And is this not a different Fnatic we're seeing? It's Mikyx consistently going top and pressuring Canna. This feels unheard of, the Fnatic that I was watching a few weeks ago. All they knew was bot, but this Fnatic is playing the map and they're playing it comprehensively.
And putting pressure into Oscarinin as Razork was able to take two of the Hound's pursuit. He flashes. Oh, the destiny for the vision is beautiful! That was team coordination to a T from Fnatic, and now they're looking for Targamas under the turret. Razork will have the Hound's pursuit again, dashes in, can eviscerate to drop away some of the aggro. There's two to the dogs. Who let him out? Fnatic.
Fnatic are looking to take over the early game once more. KC, sure, they'll get the dragon, but the kills on the top laner and the support are massive for Fnatic Snowball.
And it's Razork that picks up both kills here and the third grub. He's building such a tremendous lead for himself, putting himself in such a fantastic position to carry. And he's shown us throughout this series, he can carry. He hasn't had those random off moments where he goes too deep and just dies. He's locked in.
And Jack, you said at the start of the day, Poby has only really been pressing ore, but that press ore was so clutch for Razork to be able to get that kill. And again, though, it's like Fnatic just moving well around the map. They shift Poby to bot side, they open up upset on mid, which means that Mikyx can roam towards that top side of the map, knowing that they've got the safety everywhere else. And now they're looking to move in again. It is Mikyx caught, but he should be able to get out.
He'll be fine. He has the crash down. It was a good dredge line, bending it around that wall, but in the end will amount to not too much there for KC. They did manage to pick up the first dragon, Mountain Drake over to Karmine Corp. 3 grubs for Fnatic, so we have that exchange of the early neutrals. The question is, will we see a fight around the next? Still 5 minutes away for the Rift Herald and 4 minutes for the Drake, so we have a few moments to relax and wonder if Fnatic are going to make that 30.
He cancelled his Q.
Beautiful!
Oh my god!
Who is this man? You take him to Spain and he's living La Vida Loca, apparently.
He's so damn good. I don't know what he ate today. His confidence is just through the roof. And he's dropping bombas left and right.
I don't know if it's in the tapas or the paella or what it might be, but holy moly, Oscarinin, take a bow, sir. Because everyone counted you out in this matchup. Everyone said that Canna was going to take over this series through the top side. And it's Oscarinin who's finding the solo kills. It's Oscarinin who has been more impactful. And it's Oscarinin who is delivering Fnatic everything on a silver platter.
The question I ask myself is, can Oscarinin survive?
Yeah.
And he's exceeded all expectations. And him and Razork looks like they're going to carry game 3 to make Fnatic 3-0.
I mean, this man is moisturized and thriving right now. Like 2 of the 3 games we've seen so far, he has been the dominant force in that top lane. It's only 12 minutes in as Targamas caught out a little bit with those darting daggers. You can see the chunk. As soon as you get that Spear of Zojin, becomes so hard to fight against. Dredge line going in onto Mikyx. There's the Destiny. Targamas trying to get out because the Hound Pursuit's going to chase him down. Razork goes intangible. They dive back onto Yike. Razork now needs to get out. Doesn't have the flash. And Caliste will put a boomerang into his backside. The dive in. A twisted advance from Yike finds 2. With a Nature's Grasp and a Bramble Smash, he'll find his marks. That's 2 for them. Counter-strike out from Canna. Canna. Oscarinin still needs to be a little bit cautious. Only has that lot of ages right now and a tear. Perhaps he'll be the one queuing after this. Canna dives back in. Good knockback from Oscar to survive.
There is life in KC, yes. And what I was going to say was that Fnatic, this is a very different composition again. This is one that, while it looks fantastic, can crumble at a moment's notice. And KC showing that there is still cracks in the Fnatic defense yet.
Oscar looking for another bomber, puts the ward into the bush. Grandmaster's might. There's no mana on Canna, but the TP comes in. KC bail out their top laner in what was a very precarious situation.
But it's Oscar that's able to get all this pressure and able to buy now Poby so much time here to push out top. As we watch this replay, I really want to focus on the upset Caliste 1v1 that I think determined so much of this outcome. As you see here, Upset starts the fight with Caliste, but he loses quite hard. He W's in and he gets really chunked, has to back out, which then means that now Caliste is the one that can run down all of Fnatic as they have to get herded away, and then Yike with a beautiful flash W gets both Upset and Razork.
Great sidesteps on the Rockets from Caliste, making sure that especially that big one didn't land from Upset, because that could have been a very different duel. But it's Fnatic now, still back out onto the map. Still a 1.6k gold lead, Dragon in 50 seconds. And if KC can use the fact that they've managed to pick up some of this gold on towards guys like Caliste to try and find these fights, maybe there's still opportunities here.
Yeah, Yike evening out the jungle alongside it. Now has the Leandries complete, only about 250 gold between the tree and the dog. Canna should be able to get the push up here in the top side. Oscarinin's on his way, no teleport. KC have TP on Canna, but nowhere else. So I wonder if we'll see a fight around this Drake, because KC will have a man advantage if they want it. Canna stepping past the tower here, gets 2 plates for himself with that demolish. It's back within 1,000 gold of Oscarinin.
As the game kind of slows down, it feels like, spawning the Chemtech Dragon. KC have full control of the bot side here, able to push it in, presumably might be able to pick this up for free, unless Razork has other ideas.
Razork's looking, but Targamas and Caliste are waiting for him. They saw him walk through mid lane, so they have perfect awareness of where Razork is. Dredge line in from Targamas, call of the pack used by Razork just to jump away from it. Wasn't going to connect anyway. KC still on the Drake, should be able to get this one as Fnatic still eye for a fight. Want a bit of a Barney around here if they can get it. Mikyx has that Magnet Storm, will step in. Shadowing Strike, Destiny popped as well. Mikyx, the flash engage is there, you can sense it, but not going to be able to find it.
But they're getting what they want on side lanes, right? Like, Poby's just been pushing in this bot lane the entire time, as KC have kind of been struggling to move between Dragon and mid lane. And I can't quite see, but I mean, it should be low. There's no more turret plates on it, so not quite going down, but at least Fnatic are still getting access to the points in the map.
Yeah, I think overall, as KC, you're very happy with that. But as you say, Rob, I'm very happy seeing Fnatic both be tempered, yet also pushing the limits of what every play is possible. As now, Canna looks like he's in a lot of trouble here.
He has to run away. Razork cuts the wave really well, jumps over the wall with the Eviscerate, grabs the next wave, and it's like, okay, Canna, you can stay here, but then you're dealing with a 2v1. Targamas was on his way across, but Oscar will just hold this wave, let the cannon die, and then take the tower.
I don't know if Mikyx's going to be fast enough to the counter punch on the bottom side, though. Poby left alone underneath the structure.
Arcane Storm coming out. Yike has
so
nature's
tanky.
grasp. He is incredibly tanky with that Rod of Ages already complete. Vladi, and wave still stands for him. Rift Herald secured for Fnatic as Mikyx doesn't quite hit the Shadowing Strike.
And I think this sequence really highlights why we've been so happy with Fnatic today. They lose the Drake, but immediately they're with the counterpunch up in top. Mikyx recalls fast to protect the bot play, and they're able to get both a top tower and a Herald after they were the ones who lost out on the Dragon. It just feels like they're always one step ahead of K-Corp.
It really does. There is something just about Fnatic. There's a mojo. I don't often use the word. I'll do it in honor of Munch. There's a mojo about Fnatic when it comes to qualifying for Worlds. 12 of 14. They missed Season 2 and they missed 2016. And since then, they have made Worlds every single time. And even in a year where I think a lot of people kind of counted them out to a degree. A lot of people said, well, they are top 4, but it's KC, G2, and Koi are my favorites to make it. Once again, you get to the series that makes you get there, and Fnatic somehow find a way. KC trying to stymie that, trying to stop it. Dredgeline's going to hit, but Poby's going to walk away. In fact, he's going to walk back forward. TP coming in. Targamas stunned up, tried to flash away. The TP cancelled up towards the top side as Oscarinin was caught out by Yike, Caliste, and Canna is going to try and get away, but the Nature Scar's going to follow him. Meanwhile, on the bot side, you can see Razork still chasing onto Vladi. The Riftail used to charge down the tower. Vladi will die. Riftail, where you're going back towards the tier 2. 1-for-1 exchange, but a tower alongside it for Fnatic.
And it's Fnatic that are winning out in this trade as they get the bot tower and they're going to get the tier 2. And Canna might be able to pick up this top tower, but it's Fnatic that are constantly ahead in tempo. And even when Oscar dies here...
He finds him. Oh, does he? Okay, upset Wars past target. TP
and
coming
Canna
out
TP, so he doesn't get the top tower, but he does have a flank on the bot.
They're looking for the collapse onto Poby here, who has the flash and has the teleport and has the destiny. Locks a gold card in. We'll wait for the counter-strike. Knockup coming out from Targamas. I think they're just giving up Poby.
Another TP behind, though.
Exhaust down onto Canna. Razork needs to run away, but he's got so many tools to do so. Eviscerates across the wall. Vladi still on the chase. Mikyx dismounted for now, but remounts, finds the horse in time to gallop his way back to the turret.
But KC get 1 kill, but I have to question, was that even worth it? You spend 2 teleports, you don't crash this top wave, and you don't get the top tower now. It feels like KC are the team that the only thing they know how to do is group and kill people, and if they can't do that, they're lost.
It feels like desperation. It feels like KC see the door closing on what is not only just their world's opportunity, a potential to move further towards our finals in the LEC as well. And they're trying everything, they're throwing everything they can, but it's just, there's nothing up even if they get those kills, like any objective anymore. As Razork a little bit up forward here.
It steps a little bit forward, but the Eviscerate out will get him to safety. I think importantly for KC, if they can get the next Drake, if they can somehow put Fnatic on a position where they have to fight every dragon, they can scale. They can also just slow down the game, give up a few Drakes, not give up towers on the side lane, just scale into this game. It's not all doom and gloom for them. They have an AD carry that is 1,500 gold ahead. They're just not finding fights where Caliste can actually have an impact.
I think critically, this Sivir with the Infinity Edge, with the Yuntal, so much further ahead than this Corki. It's really hard for Fnatic to actually team fight 5v5. So KC can go back to their tried and true method. Like, you can see Fnatic, they have the TF on bot, they have the Gragas on top. They're going to push out these sides, but I think KC may be grouped here a little bit too early, as now they're going to be forced to send Canna up top. Someone's going to have to catch this bot side, and then Fnatic can just now leverage those numbers advantage to get the maybe Drake.
Well, Poby might be collapsed on Destinies immediately.
But Vladi has to choose between picking the wave here or not. And it just, you see this constant pressure and tension on Fnatic that's making it so difficult for KC to play.
Fnatic haven't started the Dragon up immediately though. Now the wave's been dealt with by Vladi. Can KC mount some sort of attack here as Fnatic look to just steal the Dragon run?
Targamas goes in with the Hex Flash. Nature's Guard's coming out. Oscarin's going to be able to dodge that. Meanwhile, Mikyx caught out. He'll crash down back into the pit. Oscarinin on the wrong side of this fight, but he's so tanky for now. Canna dives in with a counter-strike, finds Mikyx. Oscarinin already dead. A good stun card from Poby. The Death Judge will follow him down. 2 already. For KC, the 5v5 fight is exactly where they drive, but they can't find more out of it. They do get the Drake though. Great from Yike there to land the smite, I think.
And KC have found the comp that they needed, as yes, you're right, Medic. Yike got the Dragon. He's quite good at getting those, and they just found what works for them. They have this composition that's so easy to play. You see how hard it is. Oscar tries to find a flank, but once Caliste uses that spell shield nicely, Oscar has no more tools. He's just left for dead, and the rest of Fnatic are sent scrambling.
Fnatic just took a second to see if they could get the pick instead of just picking off the Dragon. And you can see that bought enough time for Vladi to get into position, and it was so incredibly close. You can see they're just doing everything they can. Mikyx putting bodies in the way so they can finish this off. But at the end of it, it's actually the Twisted Advance that ends up picking it up, as Canna is in a great position here to keep the members of Fnatic out, and it's focused them off one by one. And as that speed up is coming through, you can see KC thinking maybe they can have it, but those daggers from Razork have them second guessing.
A gold lead shrinks to only 1,000. Oh, Mikyx. That's a sneaky play if I've ever seen it. Vladi trying to answer on this side lane. Mikyx just waiting. Vladi's going to check it, and Mikyx realizes, okay, perhaps I can't do too much more. Goes in with a Magnet Storm still. Nature's Guard's going to follow him home, and I think Fnatic are the ones with a little bit of desperation coming out now. Mikyx went for the engage. No real follow-up from his team. He'll die to Vladi. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Caliste was chunked out, but he survived. A 1-for-0 exchange so far. Razork chasing Yike down, upset, having to Valkyrie forward, but immediately concussive blows coming out from Targamas. He'll cleanse, he'll flash away. They dive back in. Razork finds Carnage.
Caliste is in base.
Caliste is in base. He had to recall because of the trade in the mid lane. And Yike escapes with his flash. 1 for 1 the exchange in totality.
And this is what Fnatic need. They need chaos. They need fights to be happening all around, that KC can't just group up and make it simple for them. Upset, Valkyries in on mid, Chunks, Caliste, Mikyx ins, but the fights keep happening, and Fnatic, they want to keep that tempo up as they start this Arakan.
No explosive cast, no Hound's Pursuit, no Destiny, no Magna Storm. Fnatic have one ultimate, and it's a Corki missile. Is it going to be enough into a Death Charge and on the hunt, an Arcane Storm? Yike on his way, doesn't have that Nature's Grasp. A stun card from Poby has to flash the Dredge line. Arakan down to 4,000 HP. TP coming in from Canna as they look for the fight. Razork stepping forward, but he's already down to half HP. Yike going in as well. Look at that smite. It's Razork against the Arakan, but it's Mikyx who's going to pay for it with his life. A twisted advance from Yike will find his mark. Nature's Grasp coming out now. Fnatic scattering, fleeing the scene of the crime. They snuck it away from KC.
I can't believe Fnatic managed to find that window as Canna was dead and couldn't TP into the fight. They even managed to clear out the wave, so KC can't try and get that play on the top side, and it's Mikyx who gives his life to make sure Fnatic can get the objective.
And it's the intelligence from Fnatic. They understand that this is what their composition needs. They need this chaos. They need the pace to be incredibly high, because if they lower it, if they let things be slow, then KC can just wait for Drake, 5v5 them, and they will lose the game. You see here that Fnatic, they're not playing for the fight. All they want to do is secure this objective. As soon as they get it, they scramble, they run, they drop Mikyx. If they lose him, it's okay. They got what they wanted.
Poby just barely managing to get out of the way of that Maokai ultimate as well, but now a minute and a half until that next Dragon Soul for KC, and that's all KC want. Just an excuse to drag Fnatic into a fist fight, but Mikyx again sneaking around.
So sneaky from Mikyx, finds the Shadowing Strike into the Crashdown. They just want to chunk out Canna. Explosive cast, but they're not back. There's the Magna Storm, follow up Hound's Pursuit in from Razork, and Canna is down. Drake up in a minute, it's still a while. Hound's Pursuit in again by Razork, immediately jumps up into the corner of the pack to negate the Bramble Smash out from Yike. Eviscerate forward, trying to get that mid lane control once again.
And it felt like Fnatic needed some magic to try to get control of this Drake after we've seen them struggle before. And Mikyx keeps finding these creative angles that are doing so much from them. But still, we can't get too ahead of ourselves. There's still 40 seconds. Canna will be back up for it, and they'll need a normal setup. They need one more magic trick if they're going to pull this off.
Oh, Fnatic made the Arakan disappear earlier. They sneaked the kill onto Canna. They now have a 35 petal lead, which is about 2.5k in terms of stats.
Oscarinin is playing around this ward on the bottom side though. There's a ward here and he's managed to sneak over the wall. Now actually just spotted by Yike. A little bit on his lonesome.
I mean, Yike's going to get chunked out. Uses the Nature's Grasp as well, which is huge. That's a big element that won't be available for the Cloud Drake fight. Poby stunned up in the gravity field. Oscarinin going back in, trying to make the tree go timber. And there's the follow-up. Twisted advance forward. Razork getting chunked out quite a ton. As the redemption comes out, Canna flashes for it. One down on either side. Oscarinin on that front line, but Fnatic can't take the fight anymore. They need the picks. They need to find the sneaky routes in. But with both junglers down, KC just going to start up this Dragon.
Oscar is looking to base and TP back here with full HP. If he can find the angle.
Stunned. I thought for a second he was just going to dive in immediately with a counter-strike. Oscarinin looking for that flank. Targamas can dive on him immediately, and they have a ton of CC. He's very tanky and has the Seekers just picked up, so can stop time for a second. Magna Storm in by Mikyx. The Gatling gun from Upset. Canna counter-strikes the gold card and dives onto Poby. Poby almost dies to the laser, but doesn't quite go down. Upset's going to kill off Canna. Meanwhile, on the top side of the fight, Oscarinin getting chunked out, and Caliste and Vladi will secure that kill.
And KC have the better team fighting comp, and they're doing it with Canna going in, able to pick them off, and they're gonna get the Cloud Soul as we watch how it all unfolded here.
It was a great idea from Fnatic. Oscarinin waiting in that bottom side, trying to find the sneak angle that he needed to, but ends up getting spotted early. They tried to commit on towards Yike, but Canna, in the midst of everyone, is buying so much time, and KC's backline isn't under threat. KC are able to get the damage that they want off. And as they then go to reset here, sure, Oscarinin is able to come in, but there's just no real angle of attack here for Fnatic. Canna not giving Poby that opportunity to stun him. Resets, KC back away, and they look for the re-engage.
And you can really see the difference in the two carries of the two compositions here, as Sivir and Viktor has such an easy time just outputting DPS and making the game so hard for Fnatic, while this TF and Corki are scrambling. They're trying to hit the skill shots, they're trying to get the burst down, but they don't have enough sustained damage.
So much credit to KC with how they have fought this game. They've been behind in gold the entire time, but they found every single avenue they've needed to keep themselves in it. Fnatic now drawing them towards the Baron. Canna has TP. Fnatic will back away.
They're just hoping they could get the TP, but KC, they don't answer the bluff. They instead just keep that pressure on towards the bottom side, and they're going to look to keep this pressure up. Fnatic, they're trying desperately to find something, but now it's KC with Soul, with 3 items on their Sivir. Vladi nearly getting towards that Sonya's Hourglass as well. KC feel like they've crested the hill, and it's just about smooth sailing to find themselves that teamfight win towards victory.
It's exactly as you say, Rob. And this Cloud Soul is so damn valuable because what Fnatic needs is a pick. They need to find someone who's caught off guard. But when everybody's suddenly a race car on the side of KC, that becomes so damn difficult. But if there's one man who can find magic, even when I thought there was none available, it would be Mikyx. So let's let him cook one last time.
See what he can find. Fnatic trying to get some semblance of control around the Baron right now. Their Goldie shrinking by the second. Yike has done such a good job of making sure he survives, dives forward with a twisted advanced explosive cast. Not quite there. Hound's Pursuit available to Razork. Can look for the engage. Arcane Storm out from Vladi just to disengage. Caliste an upset fighting down towards the bottom side of the fight as Canna is yet to TP in.
But that's exactly what Jack was talking about. They're so quick and they can't really find anything. Canna has prevented or stopped his reset on the bottom side. He wants to just keep pushing as KC, they're corralling Fnatic, keeping them busy so that then this Jax can do work on the bottom lane.
So hard now for Fnatic to find the engage they really need. Depth charge onto Mikyx, goes out of vision, double redemption out, but Mikyx will be the first to fall. He goes down. Canna continues to push in bots.
And it feels like the nail in coffin for Fnatic. They weren't able to find it. They might be able to pick off Canna here, but Casey will be able to get this Baron Nashor. We'll see if they can even pick up Canna with how fast he is with this Cloud Soul.
He doesn't have the flash. Counter-Strike out, rapid fire onto him. Will get the gold card connection stun. Canna's still trying to chase away, but the exhaust and the flash forward from Poby will get the CC. Oscarinin still looking for that flank position. Can go in. It will be Canna's life for Baron if he even dies. Explosive cast back. Canna will fall. Upset gifted the gold, but the Baron for KC.
I mean, that's so worth this KC. Yeah, you'll lose Canna, but this Baron should be everything that you need to close out this game. And KC are wasting no time. They immediately move into the top lane.
I think the one thing for KC now is, do you get a bit over-eager here? This is where you could stumble at the finish line because Canna is still going to be dead for quite a while and he's going to be delayed in tempo. So now this would be a prime opportunity for Fnatic to be able to find someone caught off guard with Caliste recalling in a safe spot.
Caliste gets out, that's huge for him. Elder in 2.5 minutes, but the game begins to snowball away from Fnatic. KC unwilling to give up that world spot, to give up a rematch with Nkoi that easily. It would take a reverse sweep to do it, but this would be the first step for them. Fnatic still fishing for something. In fact, it's Targamas who fishes, chucks out the hook, connects onto a wall. TP behind as Poby begins to run. Depth charge coming out as well. The heal, the redemption, everything being used to try and get Poby out of this situation, but there's no escape from the clutches of Canna and Caliste. Mikyx and Poby fall, and KC might just look for the win.
They've already got that bot wave prepped and ready as they start their march towards the base. Oscarinin will have to retreat from the top half of the map to try and stop his base from going down.
And KC finally breathing some life back into this series as it looks like they might just take the game right here.
I mean, they might just be able to close it out. 30 seconds before Poby is back up. 15 on Mikyx, does have the Magnet Storm. Razork with the damage onto Vladi, but it's just not enough. The comfort picks for KC seem to have paid off. The Nexus Tower's falling. Oscarinin trying to defend. Explosive cast might be used just to clear out that minion wave, but the bound up minions so strong. Canna diving back in, Shadowing Strike crash down will get the stun onto him. Dredgeline dodged by Mikyx, steps down away from it. The Gravity Well finds the stun. Caliste and Yike begin to open up on the mid lane inhibitor tower.
And for the first time, Fnatic look like they're bleeding, but it's Fnatic who are on the chase.
Oscarinin chasing in. He's the only one with TP on this team. Poby goes in with the Destiny. They die to Vladi. Magnet Storm out. Mikyx finds one. They'll look for two. Canna jumps away with the lead strike. Pops the stopwatch. Goes golden. But he is just going to his grave. Fnatic find two more. Dredgeline away from Targamas. They're in.
But it's Elder. It's Elder in 40 seconds.
In 4 seconds, as you say. 40 seconds on Canna and Vladi. They'll be back up just in time for the Elder spawn.
But that might be too late. If they spawn on the Elder and Fnatic decide to rush it, they're already pressing recall. This might be the magic that Fnatic needed.
KC have this game in their hands, but has it just slipped between their fingers? Fnatic, they're not resetting. They're faking it. They're going to look for the pick. They're hoping that someone on KC will wander through this jungle. You can see that ward in the base is actually giving them the information that Fnatic have not actually reset.
I think KC might have to give it. It looks like they're not deciding to enter, and they're going to give Fnatic the Elder. What is happening?
It wouldn't be an LEC series with Worlds qualification on the line if we didn't get a roller coaster of a gold graph, guys. KC had control of the game. They breathed, they split, they looked for the Nexus Towers, and you talked about it, Jack. You said when you are in this position in a series, it is so easy to overstep. The Elder will be secured by Fnatic. Razork waiting on it just a little bit.
They're trying to time it a little bit with the Baron now. Sure. Very smart here by Fnatic.
They want to have that buff for the Baron fight. They'll continue to wait. Mikyx was looking for Canna, who successfully dodges away from it. They just hold it, and there we are, 2 minutes before the Baron. Fnatic will steal everything they can. The goal basically irrelevant at this point. Look at the items. Caliste almost at full build. Upset still quite far away. 3 items for him. A massive disparity there.
And these fights have looked impossible for Fnatic to take, but maybe, just maybe, with that Elder Dragon, they'll have enough firepower to make something happen. But that overlap is so minuscule. 20 seconds of that Baron being available and that Elder buff lasting.
And we talked about the burden a team bears after losing a game 1 or game 2 like we saw, and you can see it on KC's shoulders. This is a game that normally for them I think would look easy. They have a comp that's right up their alley. They won the early game, they got all the dragons, but you can see how they're a little bit disjointed, a little bit nervous. Everything feels a bit heavier than normal, and it is costing them dearly.
In terms of carries, they still have a massive advantage. They are so strong. I will say Poby, now with a Rabadon's Death Cap complete, if he can land a gold card, will absolutely melt through someone.
It's basically your full one-shot build at this stage. He's going to do so much work. Only that control ward preventing him from being full build at this stage. But Fnatic, they're just hoping someone on KC takes that step too far forward. Caliste needs to be careful.
Yeah, might need to back away a little bit here. Fnatic timing this with the minion wave coming in. Hex flash forward by Mikyx. Hound's pursuit on Caliste. The spell shield coming out as well. He's going to dash away. Call of the pack for Razork will get him out of dodge. Oscarinin pops the stopwatch and Fnatic pop the tower. They'll take another one in this unrelenting push, but with Baron coming up in 20 seconds and the Elder falling off in 45, they want to go back and regain control. Look at the bot wave though. Super minions pushing in there. At some point, someone's going to have to deal with that. And if Fnatic don't deal with it, double TPs from KC.
But Poby found the pick.
Poby finds the pick. Onto Yike, twisted advance forward. Upset flashing. The dragon comes in. Fnatic dragons find their way to the rift. The Elder laser enough to kill off the enemy jungle.
But KC are pinging enemy Nexus. They're thinking about TPing, but Fnatic want to keep fighting. Oh, this game is on a knife's edge here.
Oscarinin needs to reset. You can see him. He's just got that channel lock. Vladi couldn't interrupt him with that ray. And now the minions are on towards the Nexus Towers.
Elder down in 6.
That's it. That's the Elder buff gone. KC, they can potentially take the fight when they see Oscarinin in the base.
KC have an advantage around the Baron pit right now. They've got an extra man. Poby, no destiny for him. He's going to have to sprint across it. Pops the ghost to do so. Meanwhile, Oscarinin TPing behind. KC, the ones now getting caught, perhaps in their own jungle. A hook onto Oscarinin. Targamas chunked out. Mikyx cleanses away with the unsealed spellbook. He's looking for that Magna Storm flash. Across the wall, can't find it. Fnatic turn their eyes back towards the Baron. 5 seconds on Yike.
KC are just playing this push and pull. Tried to delay by time for Yike. He's now spawned, but he needs to get to the Baron, and it might just be gone.
It's already down to 6,000. Canna dives in. Razork dashes away. Mikyx gonna get caught out by Caliste. But Caliste on the wrong side of the wall. The Baron goes over. And it's Razork who gets it. Caliste with a GA. Canna gets one. And he's looking for more. Poby has to flash away. But although Fnatic got the Baron, KC clean up the fight.
KC no va morir ya! They are taking it back. They're not out yet as they bring this series to game 4.
It's Mikyx against the world. And KC are happy to put him in his place as they march down the mid lane. And KC with the ace have just done it.
Impatience around the Nexus was almost their downfall. Patience at the Baron is what will keep them in this series. KC are not done yet.
My God, what a series we have here. Such close games, back to back to back. And you can see how both teams are fighting so damn hard.